time from a sodden St James's Park, soaking wet here as Borussia Dortmund have won 1-0. A really good game for both sides, I thought. Really energetic start. Chances of both them, Daniel Marlen and Anthony Gordon going close in the first couple of minutes each. And then, but the thing that I think really counted Newcastle tonight was just the lack of occasion. You can hear the Dortmund fans going crazy up in the gods, still here. Yeah, just the lack of energy about Newcastle. They couldn't really muster the same sense of occasion. I think I warned about this in the preview. I think that there was a real sense of occasion and nervous energy that Newcastle benefited from against PSG, which I don't think they did here today. I think it was quite a difficult reality check in many ways. I think lots of people said, you know, coming into this game that Newcastle were favourites to win. That Dortmund didn't have the quality of PSG and didn't have the quality of Newcastle, but they showed that they did. They clearly learned from what PSG, you know, didn't do last time. You know, they shut out the space in midfield. They shut Newcastle to dead passing lanes that were ineffectual out wide, and from then they just were able to keep a cap on what Newcastle were able to do. I really got the sense that they didn't really have the idea, especially once Alexander Isak went off. Anthony Gordon, who was lively in the early exchanges, sort of lost his spark. And Newcastle just couldn't muster something. As the first half went on, you got the sense that Dortmund were a tricky customer to deal with. And then on the stroke of half-time, Felix Metscher scores. And then Dortmund can just sit in and make it difficult. The atmosphere didn't really build until Callum Wilson was denied by Gregor Kobel in the second half before he hit the bar as well. Going to Dortmund next and then PSG, the pressure's back on. PSG obviously comfortable winners over Milan in Paris this evening. So from here on in, it's going to be quite a difficult run. But on to Dortmund in a couple of weeks. I'm going to get out of the rain because it's absolutely soaking.
From St James's Park, I thought I'd just come on and wrap the video up a little bit with a few more final thoughts. I thought that Newcastle were, as I say, they struggled throughout the game to deal with what Dortmund threw at them. Dortmund were very, very street smart. They were very clever on the ball. I thought that Daniel Marlen really sort of had the beating of Jamal Lascelles in a similar sort of job that Lascelles had then against Kylian Mbappe a few weeks ago. He just didn't have the same ability to handle Marlen. Marlen was constantly coming inside and then going out again. And yeah, as I say, they hit Newcastle out wide, and they really exploited the wide areas quite badly from a Newcastle perspective. In terms of injuries, we've now heard from Eddie Howe and Alexander Isak's aggravated the groin injury that kept him out of the Sweden internationals, and Jacob Murphy's dislocated his shoulder. So that's neither of those is particularly good news for Newcastle going into the game against Wolves at the weekend. Both likely to miss that game. He did say that Eddie Howe did say that the injury to Isak isn't too serious, so he could be back, you know, maybe for the return in Dortmund, going back to his old club. It's a reality check is what is really how you can sort of view this. I got the sense that things changed a little bit after the PSG game. Going into this group, you know, Newcastle were struggling to get through. A lot of people saying that Newcastle would struggle to get through, and then they win against PSG, and suddenly they're likely to win the group. I think that sort of thing can happen, but also Dortmund have proven themselves to be such a clever team, and I think quite a lot of what's required at this level is to be smart and to be clever and to be really good at game management, and that's exactly what Borussia Dortmund are, and they prove to be. And I think that you know, every foul that they made, it slowed the game down. As I say, at the beginning of the second half, there was very, very little that Newcastle did. The fans weren't in the game, and then Callum Wilson went close, or should have scored. Gets Kobel making a good save. Then Newcastle hit the bar twice. So there were chances for Newcastle. They did okay, but they just didn't. For me, it wouldn't have been a deserved result if they got anything from the game. Hard fact about this result though is that probably now Newcastle have got a fight on their hands to qualify in one sense, because you know, the victory would have been absolutely huge to go into Dortmund with 7 points, but Dortmund's going to be a very tough game. The atmosphere, everything that we hoped would be in Newcastle's favour will probably be in Dortmund's favour. Same against Paris, same in Paris as well. So real difficult, two real difficult tests coming up. I think it's a lesson learned, and Newcastle can still take a lot of positives from a game like this. And on to Wolves at the weekend. I'll be back later in the week to preview that one. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you hear, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.